Hello, I'm Chelsea Penner, and I am not a doctor, I'm not a virologist, I'm not an expert on infectious disease. However, I am a really big nerd when it comes to microbiology. I took microbiology in college and I loved it. To me, it was really fun to be able to touch a petri dish and then watch bacteria grow, look under a microscope and see these microbes. And a lot of people think these don't exist in our world just because they don't see them. They don't have access to electron microscope, but they do exist. So I'm sure a lot of people are uneducated about viruses and everything going on because most people are looking to social media and the news to become educated. And I did research on actual experts. I listened to virologists, infectious disease experts, the World Health Organization, and CDC. And you have access to all this information as well. We've been able to have access to information on this virus since pretty much January. I started doing research on this in January. What up, Alex? Thanks for joining. I hate that there's no filter on Facebook Lives. It sucks. Anyway, so what I want to do is give you guys the basic science, microbiology, math, and spirituality of this coronavirus, which is specifically called COVID-19. So if you get bored easy, I will do my best to make this entertaining, but this is not some hyped up, news report that's glamorizing the death rates and stressful, situations, or it's not going to be any conspiracy theories. This is based on science, math, spirituality, and basic common sense. So I hope you guys like that. Looking good without a filter. Thanks, Rob. I hate the no filter thing. So I appreciate that. We've been spoiled by filters. So first, I want to explain some basic definitions of what we kind of hear going around so you guys understand some basic terminology that's being used. A novel virus, which is what the coronavirus COVID-19 is a new virus. A new virus is novel. We've never seen it before. What that means is that we do not have the antibodies for this virus, which is one of the reasons why this virus has become such a, what people call big deal. Pandemics are a big deal, so we should have taken this as a big deal as soon as it was announced, pandemic by the World Health Organization. But, people are slow and I guess haven't lived in the past when we've had plagues and the Spanish flu and other monstrosities that have caused millions of people to die in the past. We have, really good medicine now. We get vaccinated, so we don't really experience a lot of the mortality rates that we used to experience a long time ago. And, for centuries, millions of people would die off with viruses and or bacteria during certain plagues or pandemics. So a lot of us, in 2020 kind of look at this like, oh, it's not a big deal, whatever. But it is a big deal because it's a novel virus. It's one of the reasons it's a big deal. So people call it coronavirus because sometimes it's just easier to say than COVID-19, but coronavirus is basically the family of virus that the COVID-19 is categorized in. So it's, the real term is coronavirus, and related viruses that cause diseases in mammals and birds. Quite often in humans, it causes respiratory tract infections and can be anywhere between mild to lethal. There's some examples of other coronaviruses like SARS, MERS, and now COVID-19. So some people had conspiracy theories, so stupid, like, oh, I have a disinfectant and it says it takes out coronavirus. Yeah, because it's a family of viruses, notably from bats and other animals that we've experienced before. But this is a novel virus, meaning it's a new one, so it has its own specific name called COVID-19. So I hope that helps you guys understand that these conspiracy theories are, it's just outrageous. So I hope that helps you guys understand basically what the coronavirus means and what COVID-19 means. They call it COVID-19 under electron microscope. There's kind of like this crown looking part to the virus, and that's how they got the name COVID. And COVID stands for corona. Now I forgot corona. Anyway, but it stands for the coronavirus, like a SARS kind of virus. It is basically a SARS. It was a really long name at first, like SARS-CoV-2, like really long. So to help regular people understand, they just chopped it down to COVID-19. So this specific virus is an RNA virus. An RNA virus is completely different from a virus with DNA. RNA viruses are a lot more dangerous to us because they mutate a lot faster than DNA. They typically come from animals, so we don't have the antibodies for them. Tommy said 3 years ago on funding research and make them more lethal. Again, like, I'm not going to talk about conspiracy theories. I'm sticking strictly to science, math, microbiology, speaking from actual experts such as CDC, WHO, infectious disease experts, virologists, and such. I'm not talking about any politics. I'm not talking about any conspiracy theories. None of that. I'm sticking straight to science, logical facts, and math. Okay? So the RNA is basically a ribonucleic acid. Hi, Aisha. How are you doing? So as of March 20th, 2020, the rate of deaths per diagnosed cases is about 4.1%. However, it ranges anywhere between 0.2 to 15% depending on age and other health issues or complications. The complications are with this specific virus are pneumonia, ARDS, and kidney failure, among other organ failures. So this is a pretty lethal virus. It's actually more lethal than the H1N1, which was a pandemic that we experienced back in, I think it was 2009, but let me just double check just to make sure. Yeah, 2009. It's more deadly, more lethal than that virus. Sorry, you guys, I have like a terrible ledge here. So I hope that helps you guys with understanding the death rate. So the reason why this is a big deal, it should be to you because of your loved ones, but it is to the governments because this is another reason why conspiracy theories are so stupid. Governments want you to live because you're money to them. And everybody knows how much governments love money. So that completely debunks any conspiracy theories about, you know, oh, it's man-made and blah, blah, blah. Number one, the governments want you to live. They don't want a crashed economy. They want a paycheck from you whenever taxes is due. You think our government really wanted us to push back the taxes this year? No, they didn't. Do you think China really wanted their economy to hurt? No, they didn't. Everybody's economy is crashing. The world's economy is crashing because of this virus. So, yes, Izzy, I know. It's so hard. Okay. So Izzy said hello, everybody. Plus, if it was man-made, it would show components of things that we would recognize as maybe man-made ingredients or DNA or whatever. But it's RNA coming from animals, specifically coming from bats via pangolin. Pangolin is an anteater. It's a scaled anteater that the Chinese believed to be a delicacy. Their ancestors, I find this stuff to be really amazing and interesting, you guys, but their ancestors basically warned against eating these pangolins because they said that they can be poisonous. And they don't even taste that great. They kind of have like a bitter taste, I guess, but it's known as a delicacy. So if you order pangolin, then you're known to be wealthy or have some status. So they are one of the highest traded wild animals in the world. And we don't hear about them pretty much ever here in America because obviously we don't eat animals like that. But the Chinese eat them pretty regularly. And the way that we live, our population is growing so much, especially in China, that we're pushing out into more wild animal unknown territory. And these wild animals have viruses and illnesses that we're not used to. These are novel viruses and illnesses. So the way that we're living, the CDC knew it was just a matter of time before another pandemic would happen, especially with how the Chinese eat and how they don't really do a good job of disinfecting their food market. And one good thing that's happened from this, a little side note, is that they banned some wild animal trading in China and dog meat trading as well. So hopefully they'll actually abide by this and comply, we'll see. But that's one silver lining thing that's come from this. There's quite a few, and I'll help you guys try to understand that. We're also going to talk about the math, which is the most important part of this, and I'll get to that. So listen to this. Anyway, so how people want to know how it's spread, and it's spread by respiratory droplets. So if you're just talking and spit, which is why they recommend 6 feet away from each other, sneezing, coughing, and touching contaminated surfaces via fomites. These fomites are very durable, so they last a very long time, up to 100 hours on plastic they're finding, which is like insane. So you have to make sure that you're constantly using hand sanitizer and disinfecting handles and trying not to touch stuff in public as much as you can. Our Whole Foods here in Newport Beach was handing us gloves, and they're making sure we don't touch any carts. They would bring us the carts. They had the doors open so we didn't touch any doors, and they were disinfecting the handles of the carts before we could even touch them with our gloves. And so I appreciate that our Whole Foods is taking this seriously, and hopefully your stores are doing the same in your area. And I'll explain why it's such an important thing when I get to the math. So that's how it's spread, and that is it's a lot more dangerous because it's something like just a touch bug. I call it bug just to be easy because there's bacteria and there's viruses, there's different things. But if it's something that's just given to each other by touching, usually countries can, hold it in their country pretty good. But if it's, respiratory fluids and touch and fomites last this long, then a pandemic was bound to happen. It's really easy it's very contagious and easy to give to each other. The WHO, the WHO is the World Health Organization, which I recommend you pay attention to the accurate information on WHO and CDC, and not the news and not social media. They declared an outbreak on January 30th. I started to take note right before that. And another thing that's really interesting and stupid to me is that a lot of people are doing conspiracy theories on social media that talk about, well, this really rich person sold a bunch of stocks before the crash, like they had insider information. No, they're just smart because they saw this in the news, just like everybody else could have seen in the news. I saw it. I started doing research on this back in January, and hopefully you guys did too. But any smart person would look at that, do research on the virus, and understand not only is it lethal, but it's very contagious, which can lead to a pandemic. Therefore, sell your stocks, because if there's a pandemic, guess what people do? They sell their stocks. So any smart person would have sold their stocks. And so don't listen to those conspiracy theories like, oh, so-and-so new insider. No, shut up. They're just broke people that don't understand how to do research themselves. So the WHO, I don't know why I keep wanting to call it HWO, dyslexia there. They declared the pandemic on March 11th, which means a pandemic is a disease epidemic that has spread across a large region, multi-continent, or worldwide. So some examples of this is smallpox, tuberculosis, I can't say this right, I'm sorry you guys. Black Death back in the 14th century that killed around 75 to 200 million people. The 1918 Spanish flu, over 500 million people were infected with the Spanish flu, and around 50 million people died from the Spanish flu. Those numbers aren't completely accurate because at one point they were just shoveling people off and putting them in mass burials. They weren't even burying one person at a time. They're creating it like huge burials and then just throwing and dumping people in there. So those numbers might not be correct. It's probably more than that. The 2009 H1N1 was a pandemic. A lot of people were like, why didn't Obama make that a big deal? Why is this such a big deal? I keep hearing stupid people like this just don't do research to understand that H1N1 was not as lethal as this COVID-19. This COVID-19 is more lethal. So that's why. Just to give you an idea, we had 12,000 deaths in the US from the 2009 H1N1. Today, COVID-19 has killed almost 15,000 people in the U.S. alone. So we have already have a higher lethal rate than H1N1 in the U.S., a higher death rate. So just some perspective on that, you guys. So the Asian flu back in 1957-58 caused about 2 million deaths globally and about 70,000 deaths in the United States. If you do the numbers on COVID-19, this is best case scenario. I'm going to say that one more time. The Asian flu killed 70,000 people in the United States. If you do the math correctly for COVID-19, this is best case scenario. Best case scenario, if we practice social distancing. Current pandemics are HIV and COVID-19. COVID-19 has infected more than 188 countries and territories since it's been infected. COVID-19 can last up, like I told you guys, it lasts a long time on surfaces, and people forget about that. They think they just have to be around sick people, but it's not like that. You can touch things and it's crazy. Mild cases last about 2 weeks. And severe cases last about 2 to 8 weeks. Again, this information is all coming from virologists, microbiologists, infectious disease specialists, WHO, CDC, and Johns Hopkins University, as well as Harvard University. Pregnant women, you guys, by the way, are susceptible for serious infection with the COVID-19. And this is something that the news isn't covering. I don't know why, because I think that's pretty important, don't you? That pregnant women can get a serious infection from this. Because so many people are saying, well, I'll be fine. If I get it, I get it. I want to slap them, first of all. Like, do you have no compassion for people that are susceptible to this? Like, do you not have like a grandfather or grandma that could die from this? Do you not have someone in your family that has diabetes? You know, and it's not just a flu, you guys. This is pneumonia. And a lot of people forget that too. They think, oh, it's just a flu. Well, it might feel like just a flu to someone that's really healthy. Takes their vitamins, they work out, they eat right, they're like super healthy. It's going to feel like the flu. Everyone else is going to feel like pneumonia, and the people high at risk, they can die. So there's so many reasons why this needs to be taken more seriously than it is. I'm not trying to make anyone scared. I'm just trying to give you the facts. So according to John Hopkins CSSE, on March 23rd, we have 335,974 confirmed infections and 14,641 deaths. That's as of March 23rd. So I don't know if you guys have seen the movie called Contagion. Contagion's so good because the CDC helped them make this movie, and it was pretty much a prediction of what has actually happened. And they, instead of a bat and a pangolin, it's a bat and pig in the movie. So it gives you a really good idea of like how a virus is spread and how rapidly it could spread and how important it can be to social distance. But they use the term RO in there, and RO is for basically how like the reproduction rate, so how many people you will give this virus to. And just to give you an idea, the regular flu is about 2 to 3 people you'll infect. One study showed that if you're in the same room with a group of people, if you have the regular flu, you'll give it to, one other person. If you have a COVID-19, you could give it up to 6 people in the same room, so it's more contagious. The current number they have right now, we don't know if it's right because this is new. This is a novel virus. They think it's around 3.5, but the reason why they don't know for sure is because they're still understanding the incubation period and other factors that are changing, because this virus mutates really fast because it's an RNA virus, so it mutates a lot faster than a DNA. It's already mutated quite a bit. The strands in Spain are a lot different than the strains in Wuhan, China, which is also a problem for helping them create a vaccine for this. And at the moment, there's no known antivirals for sure that are cures. However, there's some treatments that they think work, such as zinc. And my doctor, Dr. Armstrong, she announced that zinc was showing some really good reports. And she's like, I can guarantee after this announcement tomorrow, everything will be sold out. And it was like 24 hours of what she was recommending. The source she was recommending, it was all sold out. She was recommending zinc lozenges, but that's what's been showing to work pretty good as a treatment, not a cure, in some U.S. COVID-19 patients. So the main problem that we found with how people are acting right now is that our brains think linearly. Sorry, I can't talk, you guys. Let me get some water. Linearly. My mouth doesn't want to say this word at all. We think linear as opposed to logarithmically. This virus spreads logarithmically. I'm having a problem saying these words, I'm sorry. So, the same reason, many people are just uneducated with a lot of things, like they don't save for retirement and they don't understand compound interest. A compound interest can work against them in banks or can work for them in certain investments. People just don't think that way. So they're not thinking that way with the virus. And I'm going to show you why this is a problem. They don't understand that the risk of this infection is increasing exponentially because the quantity of infected people, and most who don't show symptoms, is doubling every 3 days. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. This is really important. The number of infected people, and most of these people are not showing symptoms, are doubling every 3 days, especially if we do not practice social distancing. So that, if you do the math, for every 1 known case, there are actually 50 unknown cases, according to Harvard and Massachusetts General Hospital. That's their report. For every 1 known case, there's 50 unknown cases as well. So you can take however many known cases are in your community and add 50 to those. And that's a more clear number of how many people are actually infected by this. So here's the math, you guys. This is the fun part for me, because this is like where your mind's gonna explode, okay? Take the number of confirmed cases in your area or country and multiply it by 10. The reason why is this is the number of people that have not reported that they're sick, but they are sick right now. They just haven't gotten a test, or they haven't reported, or whatever the case may be. This is a very low number, because you should actually multiply it by 50 based on the Harvard study to account for cases not yet confirmed. So this number doubles every 3 days. So take your number, multiply by 2, then do it again, then again, then again, 10 times. In total, it's gonna look like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's the number of estimated infections in your, times the number of estimated infections in your city. This result is actual cases in your area for 30 days from now. So I'm gonna give you an example so it makes sense. Or if you wanna do this, 2 to the 10th power is 1,024. So instead of doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, you can do 1,024. So this is, I know it's kind of boring at this very second, but here's the real numbers, okay, you guys? So pay attention. 2 to the 10th power is 10,000 or 1,024. When something doubles 10 times, it's like multiplying by 10, 24. In the 30 days, there'll be number in your, so social distancing isn't followed. So I'm gonna give you an example. LA, as of 2 days ago, the HOW hasn't given us any updates as of today for LA. The closest we have is 409. This is just one city. So times 1,024, in 30 days, we're gonna have 418,816. That's just one city in 30 days if social distancing is not practiced. And now today, LA has 5 confirmed deaths from COVID-19. In 30 days, it's going to be 5,120 deaths, which is more than the entire country of Italy. Crazy. Okay, US, the United States of America, confirmed cases as of today, 15,219. This number is going to blow your minds, you guys. Because I did the math several times. I was like, wait a second. This is crazy. So take 15,219 times 1,024. What is that? Does anyone have a calculator? So that you can confirm my numbers? When I did it on a calculator, it's 15,584,256 people will have COVID-19 in 30 days if social distancing is not practiced or enforced. 15 million, you guys. Today we have 201 deaths in the United States. That means in 30 days, if social distancing is not practiced, we will have 205,824 deaths in the United States. So, what do you guys think? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm just now seeing some of these comments, you guys. I'm sorry. Everybody sold in January because it was the top. Yeah. Nobody sees coming. We didn't act as fast as we thought it was a joke. It became killing the Chinese since Enter Italy, it became a global problem. Now we can't control it, right? Hi, Princess. They are mutating. Yes, Rebecca, they are mutating. Fail. Caleb. Sorry, I just now seeing your guys' comments, but I hope I didn't bore you with the math, but the math is one of the most important parts of learning about COVID-19 and learning why your cities, your states are taking the measures that they're taking to basically like drop the curve from like going exponentially to hopefully, you know, that's the goal. There's not conspiracy theories. I'm sorry. I know how tantalizing it is to hear conspiracy theory and gossip because it releases the same hormone in your brain as gossip does, and it kind of feels like a high. So that's why people do it, but it's not healthy for us. You know, it's important for us to focus on the facts and to focus on why this can be a good thing for us, and you know, the silver lining and what this means. First of all, we all think that China should stop eating wild animals. I mean, it's a common sense thing. You know, bats have all sorts of viruses and bacteria. It's just, they're not, you know, if there's an animal close to them in the wild, you know, they can contaminate each other, and then we would eat the animal that got in contact with the bat. So obviously that's deadly, not a smart thing to do. And then they need to obviously be better about disinfecting and hopefully enforce the wild animal trade ban as well as the dog meat eating ban. That's number one. I think number two, I've noticed watching people on social media, I noticed that people are very uneducated about basic microbiology. Some people were stupid enough to post and say it out loud and post, "This virus isn't real. We can't see it." I couldn't believe when I read that. Yeah, I mean, you can see a virus under an electron microscope. So it is visible, but with a specific kind of microscope. And I guess like I took it for granted that I learned about this stuff in microbiology, but I forgot, like most people just don't have, I guess, any sort of education on these microbes, and deadly microbes at that too. So I think, you know, the education system, you know, needs to have more education on viruses and bacteria at a younger age, anywhere from, I don't know, 4th grade to 12th grade, somewhere there needs to be, because I know we take biology in those years, but I think we need microbiology added to that. Even though it's like super advanced, I really love the crap out of microbiology. I think that we need to give kids the benefit of the doubt and at least teach them basics about these microbes and the importance of washing your hands and not touching your face and basic stuff like that. I think if we all practiced better hygiene, it wouldn't have been as much of a problem, but it was still a problem because, you know, it's such a contagious virus and we're close to each other out in public. And but there's a lot of reasons we could have been better. You know, we need to practice safer, like, coughing and sneezing into our arms and using more disinfectant. Last few times I flew, I disinfected my seats. And people would laugh at me, like as far back as like last year. And then in January when I flew, people I was flying with like make fun of me, like, "Ugh, you're so silly." And then when this stuff happened, I'm like, you see, because I've been sick so many times from flying because it's those fomites on, you know, the screen, the TV screen in front of you on the TV or on the armrest or on the chair. Before COVID-19, I was told from a flight attendant that they could not, by law, use any chemicals in the airplane. They couldn't use any disinfectant in the airplane. So even if someone threw up, they couldn't clean it with chemicals. They could only clean it with water. So it's pretty gross. When I heard that, that's when I started using disinfectant in the airplane. So I think if we practice better, hygiene in the public, we could be better about pandemics. I think this pandemic, there's a spiritual factor to it. Mother Earth is the boss, and she's showing us what the fuck is up. She's putting governments on their knees. Like, this is my planet. So thank you, Gaia, Mother Nature, for reminding us, that we need to respect this planet. Because if the Chinese treat the animals better, then this wouldn't have happened. Think about that for a minute. If they would have treated animals better, this would not have happened. So, is it revenge from the animals? Maybe. It's part of Mother Earth. We're on this planet with animals. We share this planet with animals, and too many times we disregard their feelings, their rights, because they can't talk. But they're talking to us with the virus right now. So, there's so many lessons to be learned from this, and I think it's a beautiful thing that we gave Mother Earth a break, and Mother Earth is rejoicing, and there's so much less pollution. I was told that you can see fish in the Venice Canal, and you haven't been able to in a really long time. And it looks beautiful outside. I can see mountains even on a cloudy day that I normally can't see. I can clearly see islands that I normally couldn't see because of and I guess I didn't realize how much pollution we had in the air until then, but it's beautiful. Mother Earth needed this break, you guys. I wonder how much Antarctica and our other glaciers and ice countries are, sorry, my dog, are rejoicing with this right now. I don't know how much of an impact it'll have on global warming, but hopefully enough for people to actually see the science and be like, oh, maybe we are fucking up the earth. So there's so many good things happening from this, you guys. I think it's just all a matter of like what you choose to look at. Sorry, too much talking. Wrong too. So, silver lining. Silver lining is the earth is breathing. We get a break with mortgages, with rent, with bills. We get downtime to really go within, maybe learn a new skill, maybe learn how to cook, be with family, love each other, connect more on social media to people you normally don't connect with. I don't normally do live streams, so this is a gift from COVID-19. And I very much appreciate speaking with you guys, and thank you so much for joining me and commenting. Thank you, Memphis Mark, David. I have unfollowed a lot of people during this pandemic due to just pure ignorance. And it's fine if you want to be ignorant, but I don't think it's okay to not do research and then spew people with all sorts of bullshit information on social media, because sometimes people look to social media for their news and information, and when people just don't do any research and just like, all this verbal diarrhea, then people start believing myths and start freaking out, and that's just not good for anybody. I want to end this, and the one note I want to end this on is it is confirmed that the National Guard is now entering our states. I've actually had friends that have seen them in Long Beach, San Diego, as well as other states, and it's not something to be scared by. I just want you guys to know what's going on. people that, again, don't do the education and don't understand and are maybe being stubborn and think that this is some sort of conspiracy will be doing stupid things. Usually people that are poor-minded, or ignorant, however you want to call that category of people, they'll cause riots and do all sorts of stupid stuff. So the military is just here to make sure that that doesn't happen, or if it does, that there's backup, because they don't want stupid people like that to ruin businesses. That's the last thing that we need during a pandemic, is for people to be going crazy and like breaking into businesses and stuff, you know? Like, chill out, just stay at home. Everything will be okay. I live in California and we have a stay at home mandate and everything's fine. You know, we can go walk, we can do solo exercising outside, and all of our essential needs are met. We can go to the grocery store, we can go to the doctor. I just went to the doctor on Friday and got an IV. I highly recommend everybody gets a vitamin C shot to boost your immunity. I feel really good after that shot. So she was open, the grocery store is open, the auto shop is open. It's a really good time to get work done on your car or do stuff that you haven't been able to have time to do. But essential businesses are open. So there's no reason for someone to freak out, you know? There just isn't, unless you're just being stupid and ignorant and believe in some conspiracy theory. So this military, National Guard, are here just in case people do act out. That's it. So I keep seeing like people posting, oh my gosh, it's over, the world's ending. Like, chill out, man. Like, stop spreading fear. They're just here to knock out the people, the stupid people, and spray their eyes. Like, knock it off. Quit burning that building down, idiot. So that's what they're here for. You guys have any questions? I don't see any questions. Thank you so much to you guys for joining me. I hope I covered the basic essentials on this. I covered the science, microbiology, the math, a little bit of spirituality on this virus. There's a numerology attached to it as well, which I think is really interesting. But mostly, you guys, just stick to the math. If, again, in America, we'll have over 15 million cases in 30 days, according to the actual math of the actual cases today times 1,024, in 30 days, we'll have over 15 million people infected if we don't do social distancing. Like, just fucking stay at home, you guys. Just fucking stay at home. I saw this like really good meme. I posted, and I'll post it again, that our grandparents went to war for us and for our freedom, and it's our turn to save their lives by sitting on the couch. We can do this. I love sitting on the couch personally. I like the break. But the actual number in 30 days from now, based on today's numbers of 15,219 confirmed cases in the US, and you multiply that by 1,024, which is to the 10th degree because this virus is growing exponentially, that's 15,584,256 people will have it in 30 days if you do not do social distancing. So if that number doesn't make you want to do social distancing, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, I hope this virus kills you because you're being so inconsiderate and you don't belong here, because we're all in this together. We all have to share this planet together. And if you're going to be an idiot and just throw parties and travel and infect other people, then just like go away. Go somewhere else besides Earth. We want to protect ourselves here. So anyway, thanks so much you guys for joining. And I should ask about the mask part. So what they're saying right now is that there's a huge shortage of masks and other equipment in all the hospitals, especially in New York. They said in 10 days, they're going to be completely out of all their medical supplies. So if you have extra masks, then send them and donate them to a hospital. And you don't really need to wear them yourself unless you're infected. Because if you wear them, like a lot of people they're not taught microbiology. So they'll like touch the mask and move the mask, and like your hands are dirty because they have all the fomites from surfaces on it. So you're contaminating your own mask, and then you're holding in the virus and like breathing in the virus, so it's actually kind of worse for most people that don't know how to work a mask. So the healthcare professionals need to have the masks more than we do. Just stay at home. You will not need masks. That's it. Michael, I'm not doing conspiracy theories. Like the RNA is bat and pangolin, and Chinese eat pangolin. That's what the RNA is. There's nothing else in there that shows it's man-made. It would be made up of other things if it was man-made. So stop with the conspiracy theories, because all you're doing is just freaking people out for absolutely no reason at all. And no country or government wants a pandemic, because all it does is screw up our economy. And guess what the most important thing is to people? Money, sadly. So they're not going to do that. Like, that's stupid. And vaccinations, we've had vaccinations for a long time for previous pandemics. If it weren't for other vaccinations that we had, we would have continued measles, for example, and a ton of other diseases that we've been plagued by with. So yeah, I don't like that certain vaccines are made out of heavy metal and other ingredients. I hate that, but at the same time, it's necessary when it comes to a pandemic. I'm not saying everybody should go get a vaccine, but right now at a pandemic, we need one. Take zinc, you guys. All right, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I love you. Stay inside, please, and stay healthy. Mwah, mwah, mwah.